And welcome back to Sports on Tap. We're live from Z's Cream and Bean in Hinckley, Ohio, 2706 Boston Road. We're Sports on Tap, part of the NEO Sports Insiders Network. I'm Rob Trout. We have Josh Jeffy and Ed Dick. And just bringing the coaches in here today to Z's Cream and Bean. And our next guest, he was the offensive coordinator at Maple Heights. Then he went to St. Edward's for 5 years. He won 2 titles in 2010 and 2014 under Coach Rick Finati. And then he went to Massillon, Washington. And he also is the assistant coach for the St. Edward varsity hockey team. I mean, this guy does a little bit of everything, it seems like.
Now, let's not forget about his No, you're good, man. I can't hear out of this then.
Yeah.
No, I can't hear you at all. I think you may have
You know
turned
what?
the mic off.
I think.
There we go.
Wow, it's
there we go.
Jesus, really
let's
loud.
Let's
Holy
not
heck.
also forget a state championship run for Maple Heights back in 2009.
okay. That's fair enough.
I was there, and I watched Maple Heights beat the whole city of Toledo 3 weeks in a row. It was fantastic.
Well, hey, now he is the new head coach of the Berea-Midpark Titans. It's Jon Hunek. And, Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thanks a lot for having me. Sorry about the voice issue, when you're yelling at kids all day.
I was going to say it's either a good
Struggle's
thing or a
real.
bad thing.
It was a good thing. A lot of positive yelling last
Good.
couple of days, so that's been awesome. But
I was going to say, when we saw you at Massillon, Washington, and when me and Josh went to your game, I mean, you were pretty calm. You really didn't yell or do anything on the side. You kind of just stood there and just waved to everyone. I mean, you really never yelled. I don't know why you'd lose your voice.
you know me, a little low-key, low-energy guy. That's kind of how I operate. So you ask the kids, I think that's the opposite. So.
Well, Coach, first, congratulations on
Thank
getting
you
the new
very
head
much.
coaching job. I mean, that's got to be really exciting.
It is.
You go to the Titans, who in the last 3 seasons they've been 17 and 15.
Yeah.
They've been really impressive in the Southwestern Conference. What do you know first from this team? Coming in, and tell us a little bit how everything happened with you becoming the head coach in Berea-Midpark.
Well, what I know coming in is that they have had a great tradition in the last 3 years that they've had. I think the combination of schools was tough for Coach Raddick to deal with the first year, tough for anybody to deal with in that situation. But once they got the talent pool they had, they're going. They made the playoffs 2 years in a row and did an excellent job. And a lot of those coaches that were there with Coach Raddick, not a lot of them, but about half of them held over and were willing to coach with me. So it's nice to have that experience where they know the kids, know the community. A lot of them are grads. A few of them are grads of Berea or Midpark, so it's always nice to have that so you understand the tradition from a personal perspective of those coaches. And then basically getting the job, and again, excuse me for the voice, was that I was in Massillon, and I think that I had a great experience with Coach Moore, great experience in Massillon. It's just an unbelievable football town, unbelievable football experience, and they're going to have a great year this year, which will be nice. But, after that year and after being at St. Ed's, I think it finally dawned on me that what I really wanted to be was a head coach. I think that I'd been waiting for an opportunity that I thought was one in which I could build something that could contend at the state level on an annual basis, and there's very few of those jobs out there, it seems, nowadays. So when the Berea-Midpark job opened up, I thought it would be a great opportunity to apply. They brought me in for an interview, and their our AD, Adam Howard, who's a former head coach at Notre Dame College, started the program there, so knows a lot about football, offered me the job. It was, a dream come true to become a head coach, so it's really awesome, especially in a district that's becoming so big in athletics. It's like, in my opinion, is like a sleeping giant at every athletic sport because of the talent pool that's there now with both, and the interesting thing is now getting those kids to believe that in every sport. I'm a strength and conditioning coordinator for all sports, which is a very cool job, gets me involved with all the kids. And I think talking to a lot of the coaches, their coaches there do such a nice job, but it's them as well, understanding and trying to convince their kids that we can truly be great at every sport and contend at the state level at every sport. And they do a great job with that, and I think it'll happen. It's just a process.
Now, talk about the kids. When you came in there, introduced as the new head coach, how has the relationship, how did it start, and how has it been building now here through the summer?
Well, it's interesting when you get a job as a head coach, but you're still, I was still in Massillon.
Right.
So for about a month there, month and a half, actually maybe 2 months, I was trying to commute, but Massillon got out of school at 3 o'clock. Berea-Midpark gets out at 2:15. So by the time I got there, they were basically done lifting. So Coach Bazinski, who's our offensive line coach, and Coach Hansen, who our defensive line coach, kind of were running the weight room, did an awesome job till kind of we can get our program, my program, and Coach Maston, our strength coaches program, going. And I didn't feel right really changing anything until I was entrenched in the school because, again, they'd done such a great job. And And it felt wrong to just kind of force something on them where I couldn't be there to support that. And the kids that were great. I mean, I think that there was a lot of excitement with having somebody younger. I mean, there's no offense to the older coaches out there, but I think there's just a different energy, hopefully, that I bring to the table. And it's nice that, I've been lucky enough to have the resume that I have. So I think that helped, too, with regards to selling the kids immediately, that what we're going to do is going to be a lot different. And what we've done is a lot different. Again, that's no knock to what they've done in the past. They've been very successful. But I think there's some enthusiasm in the different, and so I think that a lot of kids buy in because, football's a grind, it really is. I mean, when you're working out 3-4 days a week for us for so long, it's a grind. I think doing stuff new helps to, make that grind go a little easier.
Now, you got to talk to the kids. What was the first process when you got hired of hiring assistant coaches? What's that like? Do you have in your mind, kind of who you're going to reach out to and see if they want to come aboard, or how does that all work?
I'll tell you what, that was the toughest part, I think, of the whole deal, and I think that was an eye-opener for me as a head coach. Not tough from the prospect of not having unbelievable coaches. I mean, I'm unbelievably lucky to have just a great group of guys. I love coaching with them. They do a hell of a job. But for me, it was more like, what am I looking for in an assistant coach, especially defensively when I've spent so much time on the offensive side of the ball. And I know how to attack defenses, but I wouldn't say that I could run a defense on my own. I'm just not prepared to do that. And so looking for a coordinator, looking for defensive coaches. For me, when I was looking for coaches, the first thing I look for is are they good guys, like good men? Because that's football. For those of you guys that have played it, is it's a big formulating experience in your life. I think for a lot of guys. I mean, 3 guys that were my wedding I played high school football with. So the bonds that you make playing high school football go a long way, and the experience you have with those coaches really carries over. I think a lot of how we build young men. So finding the best guys first, I think, was the most important part. And so interviewing guys in-house that wanted to stay on, and then going through that process, then it was kind of filling in gaps from there, because it's always nice to have guys that are in the building, guys that know the kids, and I'm lucky enough to have guys with great experience. So that's been really nice. And then I brought in, defensive coordinator who's unbelievable. His name's Mike Cook. He coached at John Carroll defensively. He started Toledo as a offensive line coach. Then he was at John Carroll defensively. Spent a year with me at St. Ed's 2014. We won our state title. That was at Notre Dame College for the last year, coaching linebackers. And so super knowledgeable. I think the stuff we're putting in is really high level, collegiate type of stuff, which has its challenges, but also if we can get it going, could be extremely effective. So he does a great job. Younger guy, 31, super high energy guy, and so that's been a great fit, I think, so far. So I look for guys of character first, because I always feel like, at least offensively, I can hopefully teach them what they need to know. And then defensively, you hire a good coordinator, he can teach those guys what they need to know. And then, so more importantly, is how they are with the kids, more than anything else with me.
Yeah, I would think, how you can bond and kind of be on the same level as those kids is obviously really important.
Yeah, and John, we discussed this recently. Just the difference between being an actual either a coordinator or even a position coach and kind of where you are now.
Yeah.
You're the CEO of the program.
Yeah.
You're not really assigned. Unless you assign yourself to it, you're not really assigned to a specific group anymore. You're responsible for the whole operation. How's that transition been for you, going up to this point?
At the end of the day, I think the first thing I thought when I become a head coach is that I'm getting the job based on being a good offensive coordinator. At the end of the day, that's what got me in the door. And so I'll continue to do that. I can't see handing over the reins to an offense to somebody else, and at the end of the day, my job being on the line if our offense isn't good. I just can't see that being something that I can handle. So I'll still coach the offense,
right.
Still coach the QBs, because that's something that's a big deal to me. And, I've coached with guys that have been like the CEO or they've coached nothing. And I've coached with guys that coach a position or coach on the side of the ball, and I think it's always been more effective. Like Coach Fanati coached the defense at St. Ed's during his tenure there, and I think that it's always more effective when you're hands-on with the kids. And for me, like I said, again, not being a great defensive guy, I think it gives that coordinator a lot of freedom and a lot of ownership to say, hey, listen, you do your thing. I trust you. If I don't think if I don't think it's that great, I'm going to talk to you about it, but I'm going to trust you to do it. Delegating sucks.
Yeah.
It's very tough for me. It's very tough for me. My wife tells me about it all the time, that you have to delegate more, trust these guys. And I do trust them, and it's not a knock on them. I think I'm just such a nitpicker, especially offensively, that it's tough not to be a control freak.
Well, and you're just starting, too, so maybe as you understand these guys a little bit and move on, it'll get maybe a little bit easier as you go.
Sure. Now, we were talking a little bit before we went on the air, being a head coach of a high school football team is not just being a coach. No. It's a lot of community work. You with the kids, you're with the community, the youth programs, because that's the foundation. Hopefully you'll be at Berea-Midpark for years and years and years.
I hope so.
And you want to build a youth foundation. How has that been working out for you?
I'll tell you what, that's been awesome. Again, part of that hiring process included the 7th, 8th, 9th grade coaches, which, again, for me was unique perspective. But I think that's the biggest benefit of coaching at a public school versus a private, having been in both, is the ability to get your really program, your values, your goals, and your systems in at a young age. So that's been a big – I think that'll pay off huge for us as the years go on. But the ability to hire, again, I've been very lucky. Great guys that are either in place or willing to spend their time coaching the youth levels, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. It's a challenge. I'm lucky to have it because not a lot of those guys teach. So you're trying to find guys whose work schedule works around coaching football. I mean, it's not like you're getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to coach youth sports. So I've been very lucky to have guys that are great with kids and that are really excited to be a part of what we got going on there. A lot of young guys that are high energy. And for me right now, it seems to be a big deal. For some reason, I think it's pretty easy to understand. Kids feel, in today's age, they're looking for people that can relate to them. Yeah. And again, one day I'm going to be a veteran coach, and I hope that I can still get that done. But it seems the more that people are enthusiastic around what's going on and the more that people can connect with the kids, the football becomes second, like I talked about. And it's easier to get kids going, easier to get kids excited. Our numbers are way up, especially at the 7th grade level, which is awesome. And we have an unbelievable youth football program in Brook Park and then in Berea with the Groza program that happens right at our field. So I'm around there all the time with those kids, which is really nice.
So how's the summer been going now? You talk about your youth programs and getting coaches to teach, what you want them to teach the youth and get them involved. How has it been going this summer with the varsity team now, especially when they go to different locations and scrimmages and doubles? How has that been going so far this summer for you guys?
Oh, it's going great. I mean, really, it's been a lot of fun. We started our summer off. We went to Notre Dame College for like 4 days, 3 nights, overnight with the kids, which I thought was great because it allowed them to get to know me more than anything and new coaches more than anything. And I think once they've gotten to know me, then everything else becomes easy. They kind of buy in. They want to do things that we ask them to do, and it's less of trying to convince them to do things. It's more that they're bought in to do the things, and that's been the best part of being there, is that I said that to my coaches yesterday, and I told the kids that today, that I've never been anywhere where the kids work so hard without having to be, like, in some way motivated, positively or negatively motivated, that the kids work there's such a pleasure to coach. I mean, that's been great. So summer, it's a normal grind of workouts. Most of the summer we split up the rest of our mini camp days, and throughout July we had Brunswick in for a passing scrimmage, Strongsville, Holy Name, Gahanna Lincoln out of Columbus. My brother's our offensive coordinator, so it's been really good, really a learning experience. And again, everything's brand new. That's the biggest thing, having a completely new offense, completely new defense, it takes time to get going. But I think the last couple days, the light bulbs turned on for a lot of our kids, and I felt really good about that on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, when you look at Berea-Midpark's team from last year, they had quarterback Nick Gassman, who was very impressive running that offense. Joey Bocci, who's a Michigan State recruit. Yeah. Brett Swinnerton was a tall, lengthy wide receiver, and plenty of other seniors that were impressive on that team. What do you know now about some of the roles that the new players now are going to fill on your team?
Well, we're going to be super young. We basically have about 10 seniors on the team. So,
wow.
So we're going to be really young, and they were a very senior-led group last year. And so I think we returned 3 kids with varsity experience, and not 3 starters, 3 kids with varsity playing experience. So, but the nice thing is of that group of 10, 11 seniors, it's somewhere in there, there's a great group of kids that play really hard, don't feel entitled because they're seniors. That's something that we've tried to get across right away, that for me it's all about the best guys play. I mean, and I think it has to be that way to be successful at all nowadays. And I think as we go along, we have this youth program built up like you had touched on before. It becomes a lot easier to play younger kids. And I think that's been, like, if I look at a program like Menor, Coach Trevesano's done a nice job over there. Those kids are learning those systems that they go up, and you can plug in a kid as a freshman, as a sophomore, who has the talent and now has the knowledge. It's not like you have to wait for that kid to learn the system because he's just coming in new, like at a private school, like at a St. Ed's, where now you're dealing with kids from 20 different schools. Not only do they have to learn to play together, but they have to learn what the heck they're doing. So you're not going to really be able to grab a kid and say, hey, you should be playing. That'll be – I mean, it's a challenge because, I mean, we're looking at maybe starting, maybe 6 or 7 sophomores on either – combine both sides of the ball. But at the same time, I think it's a benefit because I think we have the talent to be really good this year with the great senior class and then with these younger kids. And then it also makes me feel very confident about the future with the kids getting that good experience.
Well, now you're joining the Southwest Conference now. I mean, so you're starting to get some exposure to that. Have you had a chance to break down a little bit of game film or just watch, maybe just talk to some people about what type of conference you get into?
Well, I thought it was a good idea to know nothing about the conference and not watch any film on it.
My brain is completely scrambled from work, so.
Hey, at least you didn't spend, the last 10 hours in 95-degree heat, so at least you got that going on.
Given what happened today, I would trade that.
All right. I feel you. All right.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I've got a chance to spend a little bit of time. I mean, the first thing that's nice about being in a conference is scheduling is not the nightmare that it is for you if you're an independent team, so that's pretty sweet.
So you haven't been in a conference in a while.
No, long time.
Yeah,
Maple 7 years ago, yeah, so that's been a unique experience. It's nice to only have to deal with one independent game, so that's pretty good. And we're lucky to open up with a great team in Bedford so we kind of see where we're at, which is really good. I think the conference is awesome. First of all, it'll be nice not to have to go to like New Jersey to play games.
No kidding.
My family can actually come see the games, so that'll be pretty good. But I do think it's an awesome conference. Teams in it perennially go far in the playoffs. Like you look at a program like Avon, that's a great program. Midview, that's a great program. Storied programs like Avon Lake, Olmsted Falls, North Ridgeville's done a nice job lately. Has had great talent. It's a great conference. And it's going to be fun. It's fun for me. I think that's very exciting for me to not just have to worry about. Although the hope is that eventually we get to the point where we care about winning state championships. You know what I mean? And it starts this year. But the ability to have something else on your goal list, a conference championship, it's a cool added incentive for the kids, an added thing to have your focus on. At a place like St. Ed's or a place like Massillon, you don't win a state title, the season's seen as a failure. And it's nice to have something else to fight for besides a state championship, although, again, the goal would be to be able to play for state championships in the future.
Wanted to get your thoughts. OHSAA went back to the old playoff format, 4 regions in Division I. You got the luck of the draw. You guys are in Region 1 with teams like, Menor, Solon, Ignatius, Eds. We talked to Coach Beal about it earlier. He rather was happy about his draw. He got Region 2. You have Region 1. I just want to know how your thoughts, which one maybe you like better, which format you like better, last year's, or do you like the 4-region format
better? I've been lucky enough to win a state championship in both, so they're both pretty good. What I would say is that if the OHSA thought that was the best for the sport, then, hey, I'm not paid to do that. I'm paid to win football games.
Right.
So at the end of the day, I same thing I told my AD, I control the controllables. I can't control anything to do with who's in our region, who we're going to do. We worry about the Titans and let it roll from there. With that being said, though, Region 1 and Region 4 suck if you're in Division 1.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the meat grinder regions. If you look at Region 1, which is the teams you just mentioned, or Region 4, which is like, Cincinnati Xavier, Moeller, Huber Heights Wayne, Coleraine, schools like that, Cincinnati Elder. I mean, both are pretty tough. But, my goal is to get to the point where we compete and beat those teams in the future. So if you got to play them anyways and beat them, they might as well be in your region. You know what I mean? And play them as soon as possible and get after them. So I'm not worried about playing those teams. It doesn't bother me at all. I think we have the talent base and the coaching to beat them. So it's bring them on, in my opinion, I guess.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see some of those teams when they play in the playoffs. Going back to your team a little bit, you have a solid running back core. You have Sean Epps, who I remember last year. I mean, that guy could not be stopped.
Well, Sean graduated, so.
Sean. Well, he's not coming back.
He's gone.
But
he got stoppable this year too.
What?
So he would have been unstoppable this year.
He would have been, and he probably went to a really good college too. But they had a good running back core.
For sure.
Who's coming back running back wise, and what's your quarterback situation looking like?
Great questions. We have a kid coming back, a running back that I think's going to be really special. He got carries from last year. His name's Tyrese Holland, and he's one of the best kids that I've had, I think. And I'm knock on wood, the season hasn't started yet, but looking at kids in preseason that I've had in the past, kids like Cole Guest, kids like Terrell Bates who won a state championship for me, you know, he's right up there. I mean, he's good. He's a damn good player. And he's going to play, you know, a little bit on both sides of the ball for us, which is going to be a big deal. He's going to carry the load offensively in the running back position. I mean, I think you guys know me by now. It's not like I'm going to pound the rock constantly type of guy. I'm going to take what you give me. So at the quarterback position right now, our top guy is Trevor Bazinski. He'll be a sophomore. Okay, but a 6'6",
Wow.
210-pound sophomore that's got a nice arm. And, you know, and his younger brother's probably going to play at twin brother, but younger. He's going to play offensive line for us, so he's a big kid too. Both are great athletes, both are great players, but Trevor's really got, I think, everything I've ever asked for in a quarterback. You know, I've never really been lucky enough to have a kid that has the measurables that Trevor has. The nice thing is, being a coach's son, because his dad coaches for us, the offensive line, is a great coach, is that, you know, he already has that kind of mentality, that work ethic, you know what I mean, that coachability that you ask for in a kid. And to have a kid as a sophomore that I think could be as good as anybody I've ever had this year, I mean, that's a gift, you know. And then backing him up, we'll have Gage Young, who's also a sophomore. And we also have a stable of running backs, which is really nice. Michael Robinson, who's one of those other seniors. Bryce Agnew is another who's a sophomore. And then we have a freshman that I think will be exceptional on either side of the ball. His name's Jabril Williams, and he's probably the best freshman I've seen since Sean Crawford, who played at St. Ed's a little bit as a freshman, who's going to start at Notre Dame this year as a redshirt freshman. So.
Yeah, you got a lot of young guys, but I think it's exciting really to see your team, what they can do offensively, defensively, you know, with the new defensive system in place. What's one thing, the last question, what's one thing you're really excited to see unfold this year with your team?
I'm excited to see how our kids respond to adversity. You know, it's a young group, so seeing how young kids respond to a tough situation is going to be what's fun. And to see if, you know, as a head coach, if I kind of stay the same, you know, upbeat, energetic, positive guy as the season goes on with its ups and downs. I mean, that's going to be the biggest challenge, I think, for me, to continue to be as excited as I am about basically everything there is for the rest of the year, and how we gel as a coaching staff based on that. I really, to be honest with you guys, I think we're going to surprise a heck of a lot of people. I think we got a chance to win the conference this year, starting all those underclassmen, because our senior group's so good, because our coaching's so good. I'm excited to see how that lays out and play for a conference title and be in a conference for the first time, and hopefully win the first playoff game in the history of the school. So, I mean, that'll be pretty awesome stuff. So,
well, congratulations again from all of us
me.
here at Sports on Tap. Very exciting to see you get the head coaching gig that you were excited about. So congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on, guys. I love being here.
No problem.
No problem. Thanks for coming on.
Good luck this season.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you very much, guys.
That's head coach, the new head coach of the Berea-Midpark Titans, Jon Hunek, joining us live from Z's Cream and Bean. Want to thank you all for listening. When we come back, we're going to talk about some of our games of the week coming up this year. We're not going to tell you all of them, but give you a little tease of a few of them. And also, head coach of the Buckeye Bucks, Mark Pinzoni, will join us. All coming up. We're Sports on Tap, part of the NEO Sports Insiders Network.